Good evening. It's Monday, September 23rd, 5:32 PM, Conference Room 2. The hybrid meeting for the Board of Assessors is now in session. Call to order. Al Hoyt here.
Dean Horacek here.
Sue Gore here.
First,
John Kane is absent.
John Kane will be absent tonight. First on the agenda is public comment. If no one, moving on.
I don't see anybody, so we're good.
We have an appointment with Mr. Filios. Next on the,
Okay,
okay, go ahead, Mr. Filio.
Oh, okay, that's so, this is it.
yeah.
You're on.
Okay, I'm Fred Vilios. I live at, 23 Meadow Lane. I have a house there, and I also own a business at, 34 Hudson Drive, called WGI. I believe, I've been told that we are the largest player in Southwick, which is, oh, that's nice. I kind of like that idea. But I wasn't trying for that or anything. And we have, we tend to keep a low profile. We're high tolerance, high tech manufacturing company, specializing in aerospace. And we have, we probably the most tight tolerance company in the area. I've been saying that for at least 20 years, and nobody's contradicted me. So we do a lot of things that nobody else can do. Pratt & Whitney once described us as being a small but very important company. Okay. I won't get into bragging about my companies, but so, but I'll just leave it at that. Now we come to a situation where so at the beginning of the year we realized that we're running out of space. Okay, and we needed to expand our business. There's fellow Southwick Electric has a building down there, and he he had an extra space, and so about half a building we rented from him because we needed to move the space, and he's building another building apparently in that same park there, and we have first dibs on that as well. Okay.
What was that?
It's full.
You had,
He has a first dibs on a new building.
you
being
have
built.
first dibs on the new building?
Nothing formal.
Oh.
Okay, but we've talked to him and we told him we'd like to rent it when it gets, built.
That's
And,
cool. They got their CO in August.
Yeah,
There's
'Cause he
people
just
in there
built one.
working.
He just built a building
The
down there.
third one in
the
Finished
back.
one,
yeah,
Cause I know somebody who's renting part of that.
yeah. So, we're looking at using that space as well. But really what we want to do is have something a little more coherent than a couple of small spaces here and there. Where company is split in two. One is what they call OEM, which means original equipment manufacturer, which is most people don't know this, but that thermos you got there, I don't know what the label is on it, but
Yeti.
yeah, I guarantee Yeti didn't build it. Okay, someone else was the original equipment manufacturer, and they, maybe made it to Yeti's specifications or something like that, and then they, Yeti buys it, and then they sell it as Yeti.
Right.
Okay, and that's just about how everything goes. Very few companies that are selling things actually make them. And so we have, that's half of our business. The other half of our business is overhaul and repair. In other words, aircraft engine goes for so long, it has to be taken off the wing and every part is inspected. And anything that shows too much wear is, fixed and, engines reassembled and back on the wing it goes. So our overhaul and repairs area has been expanding a lot. And that's the part of the business that we have some in our main building, some in the Southwick Electrical Building, and we're looking for a place to put some more. So what we like to do is get it all in one place, which you probably understand would make a lot of sense. So we could rent or we could buy. Now, we do have some land. We buy/build. We could build a building on that property. But I'm told that today, in the economics of real estate, that renting is much better. Okay, now I have to look at that, okay, and we are in the process of doing that. We're doing a lot of analysis about that, because that may be good for somebody, but it's not good for us, if you know what I mean. There's a lot of things to be considered. One is, of course, money. If I rent a building, over the life of normal life of the building, what would that cost me? And that's one thing about it. The location is important. Okay, the location we have is good. Fortunately, we're not in a business where we have to be right next to the consumer. We have to be near an airport, and we have Bradley, which is not far. And that kind of thing. Sometimes people have to be near a railroad, station or something like that. But so that location, the only thing is we don't want to be buttered all over the place, if you know what I mean. We want to be, able to control where we are. And the other thing is ease of use. How whatever building we're in has to be one that we can easily use, that has the capabilities of, that, for instance, getting the electricity, having one part of our thing is because we are so close tolerance, we need to have temperature control. Okay, some of our parts, believe it or not, they have to be handled with chopsticks and other things like little pincers and things like that. If you touch them, just leave them alone for half an hour, then you can come back and do something with them again. Just that amount of heat from your hand can make a big difference. When we're dealing in millionths of an inch, So, and then there's the atmosphere. Now, in other words, we have people who are very good at what they do. They're artists to some degree. And so the atmosphere of the company makes a big difference. And one of the things that helps is the community that we live in. Okay, whether we're welcome in that community or not, essentially. So one of my things is then, moving from that to let's talk about atmosphere. We'll talk about money also. Atmosphere. I have not been feeling welcome recently, and so it started with the planning board. And probably trying to understand this from my point of view, okay? Because I know you're got a lot of considerations you have to look at from, the assessor's viewpoint, right? And that's why you're here. But you have to also realize that you're dealing with real life. And there are things that I'm going to mention that could be considered by assessors, but usually are not. If you understand what I'm saying. But they do get considered by people. You know, real life people. And anyhow, we had a situation where a fellow bought the area, a wooded area at the end of Meadow Lane, and decided to turn it into a well, let's see, he wanted to make it a what do they call it, a state,
The planning board did approve an estate lot
yeah, a state
for
lot.
him to build on.
But it was, you know, he also made it pretty clear that he wanted to have a bunch of animals there. And in talking to him, he wants to be able to sell it to as a farm, maybe, you know, or to later on. You see, he's in real estate. That's his business. And anyhow, he basically clear cut the forest, which he wasn't supposed to do. In fact, there's wetlands that he clear cut, which nobody seems to care about. Well, it's not, I used to be at the end of a lot. I'm not anymore, under the end of the cul-de-sac, and I'm not anymore. And that, as you know, makes a difference in the value of property. Although it's not something you consider usually. Okay, but it's something you could consider if you wanted to. And as assessors, you're here to, you know, this is a small town. And is it a town? I guess it's.
It's still a town.
Yeah, okay,
Farming
Pretty much
community.
bedroom community,
yeah, I don't know.
90% is housing.
Yeah, it's, you know, how the terms, I'm not, I know there's probably exact terms that.
Yeah,
you use.
Massachusetts is a farming
Yeah,
farming state.
yeah, I don't tell that to the guys in Boston.
Right to farm.
Yeah.
Yes, I know they have that, the right to farm. I don't think they mean that for every part of Massachusetts, but
Yeah.
that would be a little silly. But you know, as a town, you have to do what you're doing in favor of the residents that live here, the people that live here. And that should be, at least I hope.
Well, you follow the zoning,
Well, okay,
we have zoning bylaws.
yes, I know there's bylaws. The
You need to
bylaws are
adjust.
created for the benefit of the community. And if you look in your bylaws, you'll find that that's true. Because I've seen it. Okay, so that's one of the things that seems to be missing in the planning board when they decided that they should put this lot, they should approve this lot, which they don't have to do, by the way. And that was brought up. That they didn't have to approve it. That was up to them, whether they wanted to approve it or not. Despite the almost total, you know, objections of the people on Meadow Lane, which was totally disregarded, and it pretty much told that, you know. But nevertheless, what happened was they had to have a supermajority, okay, to prove it. And they didn't make it. They didn't have a supermajority. And one of Mr. Goddard, I think, no, not Goddard, Doherty, he's the head of the thing.
The chairman.
Yes, he made a big show of, well, you know, I can see how the residents feel and so forth and so on. So, you know, I'm going to vote against it now. I know politicians, okay? I've worked with politicians. I've had to deal with politicians. And one of the big things.
I got to talk to you twice in one day.
Oh,
Yeah, Mike.
okay.
How are you?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about possibilities of building on the lot and
Yeah,
what that would.
Good,
Again, I'm trying to take this all into
Like
consideration,
Ted
of
called.
course.
About
and
that.
what, depending on what happens there is going to be a business decision, but part of that business decision is the atmosphere and whether we feel welcome or not. Because obviously we don't want to work against people that are surrounding us. Okay, anyhow, Mr. Doherty was going on about that, and politicians will often, if they feel their constituency wants them to have oil wells, they'll they'll vote for the oil well bill, even though they know it's not going to pass. And even though they'd rather not do it, because they know it's not going to pass. So they say, and then when it comes to getting voted in, I voted for the oil well, even though they didn't pass it. It's a very, very common politician trick. Okay, and that's what Mr. Doherty was doing. Because when he found out that he didn't have the supermajority that he thought he had, I never saw such a dumbfounded person in my life.
There it is.
He didn't know what to do, and he just didn't talk for about 10 minutes. And you can see all this, it's on the video. So the next meeting, right? He said, okay, it was voted down, but now, he's come back with a new plan. He didn't have a plan. I was sitting right next to him and I said, you have a plan? Nobody had a plan. Okay. And so we're going to vote on that. And boy, Doherty didn't have a single objection at this point. Okay. And they pushed it through. No, there's no discussion from the residents, even though that's part of the law. You get a new plan, you have to open it for discussion again. Okay, not only that, I think there's a time period you have to wait before you can submit a new plan. That was all pushed under the rug and it was rammed through. Now, why would a person do that? Mr. Doherty is a attorney, and apparently a well thought of attorney. People think he's skillful as an attorney. So I think he knows what he's doing. Why would a person who knows that that's not the correct procedure do that? I'll leave that to you to decide. I have made my own mind. But I'll let that, I don't want to say it because, well, I think you know why. Anyhow, so I didn't feel too welcome with all of that. And I work in a business where you have to be honest because people's lives are at stake. Okay, and I will keep a person who makes a mistake, but I won't keep a person who covers up the mistake and tries to push it through. To me, that is despicable. Okay, I'm not saying Doherty was making mistakes. I think he knew exactly what he was doing. And so I don't like anything that I feel is not kosher, not above board, not all on the up and up. And I didn't think that what happened there was on the up and up. So let's talk about money. Okay. Now, you are a group that, you bring money into the town. And the town relies on you to make sure that they get enough money to do what they want to do. Right? Now, I'm also aware that the town is not exactly in the poorhouse. Let's say that there's a surplus, and that's fine. In fact, one could argue, and I'm not trying to argue that, yes, one could argue that, and if you want to work for the benefit of the whole group of people in the town, then you might want to lower your rates. again, I'm not trying to argue that,
Yes.
but I'm just trying to,
Comparable sales is what we use.
yeah, I know, oh, I know. And, but that's, but you could, if you wanted to. You could decide the rate would be different.
The Department of Revenue tells us what the tax rate will be. They scrutinize
on-
all the information that we submit
Yeah.
with all our values. They tell us if our values are within the range that they have set for
Mhm.
guidelines. The other half that determines all that is the accounting, all the finance. They have to send that into Department of Local Services.
Yeah.
And they go through and scrutinize that. So when they get through going through both of our all the information,
Yeah.
then the Department of Revenue will tell us.
I'm
what
not,
the
I'm not,
rate will be.
I'm not here to argue
No,
that.
I know, I'm just putting it
I'm
out
just
there.
saying- you're
It's
not-
really not up to the people on the board or otherwise to.
Oh, I
make
didn't
that
think it would
change.
be.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
not the
think it
matter
would
of-
be, but you would
It's
certainly
a
have a
state
say.
I'm
regulated.
just putting it
Yes.
out there.
If you wanted to say something about it, I'm certainly would be listened to, I'm sure. You know, this is not what I'm trying to talk about, okay? All right, now, so it is important that you get some money. Basically, if you don't get money, the town's not gonna do well. So that's kind of on your shoulders. And I understand that. Okay. I think I've got a situation here where, of course, like a lot of people, my taxes went way up. And I looked at my tax, I found out that I think there was a, well, you were there, I think there was a bathroom or a bedroom. Yeah, there was extra bedroom that was listed
We
and
went through your
Yeah.
square feet. It's
The
pretty
square-
much the
the
same.
square
it's
feet
just
was fine,
different listing.
but there wasn't a bedroom that was being counted and I don't think there was I think there was too many bathrooms also.
Whoever the assessor was at the time of the walkthrough, when it was first done,
Yeah. Well, I don't know,
could have just went off a plan or saw something else.
maybe, but there never was any more bedrooms than there are now, and there never were any more bathrooms. So, you lowered it a bit, not much. In fact, hardly any, but you did lower it a little, so it went, yeah, and it came down a little bit. I listed a bunch of things that could have been taken into consideration, but are usually not taken into consideration. And one was, I'm no longer at the end of a cul-de-sac, and, I have to now put up with, a guy driving his off-road vehicle around, making a lot of noise. And, also there's a beautiful forest that was there, which is no longer there. Now it's just a lot of, I don't know, nothing much, really, and, so, personally, I don't think I could sell it for as much as I could have before he showed up. Now, I'm not looking to sell it, but maybe I am. I'm beginning to feel like I am. Okay, and, if I'm going to pay a high tax rate, I want to have a property that I like. So that's where I'm sitting, and you could say, well, yeah, there are reasons that we haven't considered, which we could maybe consider if we wanted to. But why should we consider them for one person? Well, most of them are one-person things. In other words, not every resident on Meadow Lane is no longer at the end of the cul-de-sac, for example. Okay, and not every resident of Meadow Lane has a neighbor who's running an off-road vehicle, and not every resident of Meadow Lane no longer has a forest next to them. You know, so these are things that could be, you know, you don't have to. In other words, it wouldn't be necessarily singling out one person, making them special. You see what I'm saying? And you may think that, well, you know, um, we've given you a little bit back and that's all we can do. You know, well, that's sort of up to you, whether it's all you can do or not. You know, it's like I say, it's all up to you, really. And honestly, in your situation, I don't know if I would be changing my mind much because personally, I mean, somebody even asked me, do you want to join the board or something like that? You know, like, it was you and volunteer. And I've tried to keep a low profile. I like to, don't want to, because I am the biggest employer here. I don't want to throw my weight around. You know, I don't like that. And, you know, there's a lot of good things about Southwick, you know, which I like. And it would be for me to leave Southwick would be, I'd rather not, you know, but I do have to feel, well, these are the considerations I have. Okay. And I think that there's things that could be done if you were willing. So I guess that's really it. Do you have any questions? I mean, I'm not trying to blackmail you. You know, like I say, keeping the business here in Southwick is going to be a business decision. Okay, and it's going to be based on those factors, which we are investigating as we go. And my general manager is saying, Fred, you got to get moving on this. You know? So, you know, something's going to happen. We're either going to decide to build or not decide to build, and that's when I was talking. I'll be seeing Doug Wednesday, and we'll be talking about, you know, the what ifs if we stayed here and that kind of thing. So I hope you don't feel like I'm trying to, you know, blackmail you into this or anything like that, because I'm not. You know, but it will make a difference to some degree. It's one of the factors.
Mhm.
And I'd be, you know, dishonest if I said it wasn't, you know. Okay.
Okay,
We appreciate your
Yes.
honesty.
yes,
We as a board we will discuss.
Well, good. I said, to Cindy, she said, you know, they're not gonna have your discussions right away, you know. I said, I wouldn't want them to. You know, I'd like them to think a little bit about what I said, you know, discuss it amongst you, you know, and that's to me a more business-like approach.
yes.
That's fair.
Yes. Okay, so I guess I'm leaving now, is that?
Yes.
That's okay.
Okay, thank you for
Thank
coming.
you. Thank you.
Yes, we appreciate this.
You're welcome. It was nice meeting you all and seeing you all together. And that sort of thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Take care.
Sure.
Oh, did you forget something? Is that his pen?
And there was just one thing I forgot to say, and it's very short. I could have taken the planning board to court.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of good basis for that. I thought about it, I decided not to. Because I didn't want to be fighting with my neighbors, was one thing. Okay, that's, you know, I have to live with myself. Okay, and I don't want to be that person. Okay, and you know, if I took the planning board to court, I'd be taking Southwick, the town, to court.
Mhm.
And I didn't want to do that either. I didn't want to be that person. Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Yeah, have a good evening. So you're
Okay, next.
Okay, next on the agenda is to review the minutes of August 19th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the minutes. What's the date? August?
August 19th.
August 19th.
There's no old business. For new business, can I get a motion to approve the August motor vehicle abatements?
I make a motion to approve the motor vehicle abatements for August.
I, Alan Hoyt, second the motion. Can I get a motion to approve the 61A agriculture lien for Coes Hill Road in the name of the
The Proskus.
for Proskus?
And Heretic make a motion to accept.
I, Alan Hoyt, second. Can I get a motion to approve the chapter 61 forestry certificate for 53R Honey Pot Road?
I, Dean Heretic, make a motion to accept and sign the 61
I,
chapter 61 forest certificate on 53R Honey Pot Road.
I, Alan Hoyt, second. Can I get a motion to approve the pilot for US Treasury in the amount of $6,122?
I, Dean Heretic, make a motion to accept and sign the pilot for the US Treasury in the amount of $6,122.
I, Alan Hoyt, second. Can I get a motion to approve the WB Mason invoice for $240.77?
I, Dean Heretic, make a motion to accept the W. Mason bill in the amount of $240.77.
I, Al Hoyt, second. Can I get a motion to approve the WB Mason invoice for $46.99?
I, Dean Heretic, make a motion to accept the W. Mason bill in the amount of $46.99.
I, Alan Hoyt, second. That's the one we just signed. Can I get a motion to approve the WB Mason invoice for $27.98?
Heidi Narachik, make a motion to accept the bill on behalf of WB Mason, the amount of $27.98.
I, Alan Hoyt, second. Can I get a motion to approve the Southwoods invoice for $126?
I'll make a motion to approve the Southwood invoice for $126.
I, Alan Hoyt, second. Can I get a motion to approve all the statutories?
I make a motion to approve all the statutories.
I, Alan Hoyt, second. Is there anything the board wishes to discuss? I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion. To adjourn the meeting.
That concludes the meeting. At 6:10.